Hello. So this is a quick screen share. I'm going to walk through what I think is the easiest way to test pre-release binaries, or really any binaries of the Terraform Atlas provider. Um, so I'm on the official HashiCorp website that walks through CLI configuration file, or the .terraform rc file. There's a lot of. I'll drop the link of this into the Slack window as well. There are a lot of different options to be able to run the provider locally. You can see that in the provider installation. You can explicitly install the method configuration, and this is basically what we were referencing on our Terraform GitHub repo. It's this Terraform network mirror. You can do an implied local mirror directories. You can do a provider plugin cache. And you can allow the provider plugin cache to break the dependency log file. What I think is the easiest by far is this section over here, development overrides for provider developers. I took some time today and I played around with a few of these different settings. This is, I think, the easiest steps, and I think what I'll do is I'll also update our README file on the Terraform repo to recommend this process, development overrides of the providers. So effectively, what a development override is that it instructs Terraform on your machine to use a local copy of a particular entity. I don't know if you can see this. I'll put this over here just to make sure that you can see everything. Okay. So effectively, what we're going to do is we're going to add, step one. And this is my environment, just to walk you through. The first thing you want to do is you want to create a local providers folder in an empty directory. And create this .terraform rc, which is what we heard in the instructions from the HashiCorp website. In there, you're just going to have a very simple statement in here. It's just provider installation, open bracket, dev overrides. And this is the namespace, MongoDB / MongoDB Atlas, and the directory of where this folder is on your machine, local providers. So easy peasy. The main.tf is just basically going to be for testing purposes, I have a very simple Terraform config file. All I'm really doing is I have my keys, my public programmatic API keys, which I'm hard coding just for testing purposes, and creating a project. Okay. If I was going to do a Terraform init right now, this would pull the latest Terraform provider off the public registry, which is what we don't want. Instead, what I want to do is I'm going to go to our Terraform repo, and you can see with this v1.9, which is a pre-release binary. I'm going to grab the one. I'm working on a Linux AMD 64. So I'm going to download this guy. I'm going to open this file and extract all. All right, cool. And I'm just going to take the binary and I'm going to put it into my folder. I don't need the changelog. I don't need the license. I don't need the README. All I need is the actual binary. I'm going to put it right into my local providers. Okay, so at this point, you should only have two items in your directory, one main.tf and a directory called local_providers. That local_providers will have a .terraform rc as well as the pre-release binary, which we're going to be running locally. And the last step, I'm going to open up a terminal, is to just clear the screen. The last step is to use this command. Again, I'll paste this in Slack as well. It's export tf underscore CLI config underscore file is equal to the directory of where you're putting this .terraform rc. And that's it. And basically what this command is doing is you're telling the Terraform CLI for development override purposes, for developer testing purposes, don't pull from the Terraform public registry, pull from this local file. All right, so I'll save that as environment variable, and I'm going to do my Terraform init. And if doing this correctly, what you'll see is that it's still going to pull in the file structure in case you need for the latest version of v1.2, which is what we specified, or we didn't specify, so it pulled the latest version. But the way that you know this is working is that you'll see this yellow box over here. Warning, provider development overrides are in effect. And actually, let me turn on logging, just so that you can follow along with me. This is the easiest way I've had to confirm that this works. Okay, so logging is enabled. Let me just clear my screen, and let's do a Terraform plan. And again, you'll see this warning sign. Again, this is how you know that export variable worked. The provider development overrides are in effect, and it looks like the plan's good. We're just creating one project, and you'll see that I've exported my logs, so I'm going to verify that shortly. Terraform apply auto approve. Cool. All right, we got one resource successfully created. Now I'm just going to inspect our logs. I don't need this terminal anymore. And you can see v1.6. I'm just going to Control F. v1.9. Yeah, so you'll see all this in our logs file that all this is running v1.9-pre1. And just as a further check, as part of this pre-release, where we have a few new features. One of them is backup compliance policy, and that's effectively how I tested that resource by looking at this method. The last point I want to say is that, again, there are other methods to running the provider locally, but you have to mess around with the folder structure, and it's very easy to trip up. I found that this is by far the easiest approach. Using these development overrides. So that's going to be my recommended approach going forward. And again, I'll create a PR to clean up the repo accordingly. But I hope this helps. Thank you.